Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, and this is an extra edition of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm joined by Tom Vanderford, like I am every Friday night. Tom, we got ULM this week, then we have the Egg Bowl, and I won't talk to you again before the Egg Bowl, so I think we're going to do both tonight. What do you say about that?
Sounds good.
You know, we have ULM this weekend or tomorrow. It's a morning game. It's an opportunity. I want to see Walker Howard play. I want to see backups get in. I'm thinking that Jackson Dart shouldn't play much more than a series into the third quarter. What are your thoughts about this game?
That's what I want to see. I just want to see a good, clean game. No injuries. The people that got beat up against Georgia, rest them. And because we've got enough talent to easily handle Louisiana Monroe. So let's just get everybody that's a little banged up healthy and go from there.
Yeah, Ole Miss is a 37.5-point favorite going into the ULM game. I think the over-under is at 63 points. That lets you know that somewhere around 44 to 14 or something like that. Either way, they're not expecting the game to be very close indeed.
Right.
So what do you think Ole Miss needs to do against ULM before we get off of the ULM game? What do you want to see in Saturday's game?
Our passing over the middle. I want to see us work on utilizing a tight end, whether it be Priestcorn or Wolf. I want to see us run the ball with anger and fury. I want to see our line block. I want to see our backs run hard. And as far as the defense, I'd like to see what Dejon Anthony has said this week. They want to shut them out. So that sounds good to me.
You know, I believe you're going to the game this weekend, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, this is an opportunity to go hang out with the Sistrunks. Yeah. Go ahead and talk about that for a second.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I met the Sistrunks a long time ago. It was in 2019, Ashani's true freshman season. And we have been friends and from close and afar, and it's senior day tomorrow, and there's no way that I'm going to miss that. I'm going to try to get there super early in the morning and hang out with them and tailgate with them because, of course, it's an 11 o'clock game. Probably stay after the game as well and hang out with them and get to give some time to them. They're really special people to me.
Yeah, good folks. Ashani's been on the show. Good people indeed. Well, this is going to happen before the Egg Bowl. The Egg Bowl is in disarray. Right now, you can get 50-yard line seats to see the Egg Bowl on the lower bowl for less than $70.
Yeah,
like you couldn't sit in the south end zone at Ole Miss and Louisiana Monroe for much less than $70.
Right. Yeah, the wheels have come off the bus in Starkville. But saying that, you know, Greg Knox is their interim, and he's a pretty good motivator. He's a player's coach, and I think they'll have their good running back for us, and I think will be back there for us. And we're just going to have to play really good defense. We're going to have to make sure that we limit the quarterback and that we stop the run. But to be completely honest with you, and I may come back later and have to eat crow, but this year I don't think they're in our class.
No. This
year I think it should be a relatively easy game.
Yeah, and it's a situation. I was talking about this on my show during the week. Is this year is the actual revenge for what they pulled in 2015 and 2016. This is the game that the checks actually do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you had legend has it that there were 3 people that sat around after the 2015 game and got some people together and said, we've got to do whatever we can to get Ole Miss the death penalty. That's what they wanted. Mm-hmm. And, that's right after that. You had those 2 state football players that flopped and all that other stuff started. And it was the beginning of the end after Dak's last Egg Bowl.
When he pooped his pants.
Pardon?
When he pooped his pants?
Yeah, when we totally dominated him, he pooped his pants in Starkville. The legend goes that Lee Wooldridge, also known as Coach 34, and Steve Rose Bowl Robertson, and Bo Bounds got together and cooked all this up. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? But I do know that there was a concerted effort, and Dan Mullen was part of it too, to try and bury Ole Miss.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. I think it's absolutely hilarious that Ole Miss is right back where they were, and Mississippi State's trying to figure out what they're going to do. They're in danger of becoming Vanderbilt without the degree.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And God bless their hearts. I mean, some of them are crazy too with these coaches they think they're getting. I made a prediction about a week ago when they were saying, well, we're going to get this guy. I said, you guys are going to get Levy. Levy and your AD are big buddies. You guys are going to get Levy. And now all of a sudden I saw today on one of their boards that, it's Levy. So we'll see. We'll see if I spoke that into existence, but they're not. If they don't get their NIL straightened up, they're going to be.
There's nothing they can do.
Yeah. I just don't think they have the. I just don't think they have the resources for NIL like we do.
But the way, Bo Bounds, speaking about what we were talking about earlier, I think it was either today's show or yesterday's show. He had a reporter on just trying to drill down on the Lane Kiffin to Texas A&M. It's like that story's been dead since Monday, but he's trying to speak it into existence.
Oh, yeah, because that's their MO. They made sure that all of that stuff with DeSanto Rollins came out right before the Georgia game. They're trying to say Lane to anywhere, Lane to A&M. And now I'm hearing Kelly may be fired at UCLA, and people are saying Lane to UCLA. It's ridiculous.
And the same people, the one that fed probably the information to John Sokoloff, if Sokolov's not involved in it himself.
Exactly. Yeah. And
it is all psyops and guerrilla warfare being done by the people in Starkville. And it's a silly, toxic rivalry, but whenever the talent disparity is what it is, you need all the help you can get.
Oh, exactly. And they've unfortunately they had a coach, God rest his soul, who believed in the old school of red shirt seniors and building the program and stuff like that. And in NIL, I just don't think that's going to work. I mean, you want some of that. You want a recruiting class like we're putting on the defensive line. It's awesome. It's got to be the number 1 defensive line recruiting class in the country. Oh,
especially was that Charleston, what's his name?
I can't remember his last name. Collins, maybe?
Yeah, Charleston Collins, something like that. He's a top 100 player. It's like, holy crap. This defensive line class is Georgia level, is Alabama level. That is where this defensive line class is.
It is. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I told somebody the other day, I never thought I would see us in state out recruit Mississippi State on the defensive line.
Oh, and we're shutting them out basically. I think they got the one kid from like Holmes.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. And I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Yeah. We always got 1 or 2, but they've always kind of dominated, with defensive line. So that's wonderful. That's another good thing. But dude, you're like you said, it's payback.
Yeah, this is the game. This is the game the Czechs do.
Yep, I completely agree.
And honestly, I know that Ole Miss fans do not travel to that game. Okay, I get that. But if you're ever going to travel to the Ole Miss State game in Starkville, this is the year.
Hey, I just want to put this plug out. Rodney Sistrunk said we need all the Rebels we can get there. And he's just about talked me into getting one of those cheap tickets and going down there to Starkville. Even though I hate them cowbells, it's like Rodney said, you can buy some foam earplugs for $1.25.
And listen to this. This is important for Ole Miss fans. Okay, if you want to completely mess with Mississippi State's offense, right before the ball is to be snapped to the quarterback, start a hotty toddy chant. They will ring the bells to drown out the hotty toddy chant. And if State's on offense, you'll probably get a false start at a Mississippi State home game. I'm dead serious about that.
That's awesome. If I'm there, do it.
Yeah, start a hotty toddy chant whenever Mississippi State's on offense and watch the hilarity ensue.
Yeah. If I can get a seat that's not in the neck deck, you know what I call the neck deck, right? The one that's up there at 10,000 feet.
That's the $20 ticket area right now. You can literally get a free ticket if you use the gametime.co or Game Time ticketing app.
Yeah.
It's a $20 rebate if you use the promo code Locked On College, and the tickets in the neck deck right now is $20.
Yeah, so you
can have a free ticket to the game.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool. It's one of those games like, Mississippi State tomorrow plays Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Which, whoever scheduled that game needs to be fired with cause 5 days before the Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
If he wasn't an Ole Miss fan that's already left laughing out the door. But Southern's going to come up, and it's their Super Bowl. They're talking about in-state colleges not playing them and all that. Will Hall is playing all the hits.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
If Mississippi State doesn't start quickly and Southern Miss does, State will lose that football game. I've seen this too many times when a coaching change happens. If something bad happens, they quit. They lay down. And that doesn't matter. Just picture what it was in, 2011 against Louisiana Tech?
Oh, yeah, we laid down. Yeah. We lost our homecoming. We got skull drug. What was it, 27-7?
Yeah, and Louisiana Tech was good, but, I mean, they were good. It was Ole Miss laid down, and they wanted the season to be over. And Mississippi State's there now.
And I'll be honest with you, I watched some of the Kentucky game last week, and, Tulu Griffin and some other ones, they looked like they were done. Now, can Knox and Bumpus and company, can they revitalize them? I don't know. But
they'll be fired up the first 10 minutes. It's the same for Southern as it's going to be for Ole Miss. You just need to survive the beginning of the game.
That's true. That's true. And so, like you said, it's going to be Southern Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this big thing on Twitter this week, and I'm sure everybody saw it, where they said where Will Hall was basically busting on Ole Miss for not playing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the guy, I said, man, we have everything to lose and nothing to gain.
You're not going to win this argument with me because I am pro play Southern Mississippi because, in my opinion, if we're going to play Troy, if we're going to play ULM and USA, treat USM the same way. Just schedule them one game every 7 years.
I can see your point because any teams could come up and bite us in the buttocks as well. I mean, when we scheduled Tulane 5-6 years ago, we didn't think Tulane was going to be the Tulane that they are now. So you never know. But
we didn't play well, and we beat them by 17 points. I mean, the point of the matter is, if Ole Miss is at the point now, it shouldn't matter where these G5 teams, if they're good or not.
Oh, I agree. The other thing that I mentioned too, which you may agree with me on this, is if Southern Miss wants a home and home, I'm out.
Oh, yeah. If you won't go to USA, you don't go to Southern Miss. Yeah, treat them exactly like any other Sun Belt team, and I have no problem with it at all.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll make sense. I mean, Southern will come up to Oxford. They'll take their whipping because they're going to get beat.
Yeah.
And this isn't even Memphis playing Ole Miss.
Right.
Southern Miss is dropped down to Sun Belt. They're barely FBS at this point.
Right.
Just beat them, handle them, treat them like ULM.
Yeah.
Remember, ULM was USM's slump buster this year. USM beat them 17-7. So whenever Ole Miss plays this ULM team, whatever the final score is, remember that USM beat them 17-7 and just do that transitive property thing that everybody does.
Exactly. And I'll be rooting for Southern Mississippi Saturday though.
Oh, I'll have double boxes on the TV. Oh my goodness. I'll enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And the post-game show, if Southern can win and Ole Miss win and Southern win, that'll be a hilarious post-game show Saturday afternoon.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, I'm not sure if I am, but since the Egg Bowl is on Thursday, I'm thinking about doing a Sunday show. And the What We Learn episode, that's normally the Monday one, just kind of move it up a day. And then the Friday show of Why Ole Miss Wins is on Egg Bowl morning. I'm thinking about doing that. I'm not sure at the moment.
I think that the fact that Ole Miss has the ability to sack the quarterback is going to be big in the Mississippi State game. You know, I don't care who's back there, but if it's Will Rogers, he's definitely not Jalen Milroe, and we got to him. We can get to the quarterback, and I think that we'll see some good defense from Ole Miss as well.
Mississippi State is low-key had offensive line problems for a good portion of the year, and that is problematic when you have J.J. Pegues, which this game is going to mean a bunch to him. Centarian Perkins, I imagine this is going to be the first time that he is really jacked up in an Ole Miss uniform.
Yeah.
And those players, the Mississippi players are going to kind of run the show a little bit, I think.
I think so.
But we'll see. In that game right there, the Ole Miss does very well with the script. Ole Miss always starts quickly. They even did against Georgia. If they do that against Mississippi State, the game's over.
I agree. I think we're looking at 10-2. And at the worst case scenario is Stephen Willis gets to see a home game.
Right down the road.
Right
50
down
miles.
The case.
Yeah, the post-game show that day will be 3 hours after the ball game, just so everybody knows, because I'm going to go to that one. I will be there for that. And then I'll go to the Under Armour All-American game and look at all the Ole Miss prospects that are in the game, because I think 2 or 3 are there down there at the moment.
Yeah.
And that number might go up a little bit. So
right.
I just wish Jeffrey Rush, he went to the All-American Bowl. I wish he'd went to the Under Armour game. Him and Kamarion Franklin and all that, it could have been pretty good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I genuinely, whenever I worked at Rivals back in the day, we went to things like the Under Armour All-American game and the Army All-American Bowl next competition, all of that stuff. I like that environment. I feel comfortable in that environment, and, get to see some people that you hadn't seen in 10 years and hey, what's up? And it's just really cool to see them running drills and things like that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a whole bunch. I'm down there for the interview that I get with them ahead of time. And I'm down there to see potentially who Braylon Burnside signs with.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Well, I know that, of course, it's the game, but there are a whole lot of commitments that are busting on Stonka to come to the SIP. So, but I really want, I'm just going to tell everybody real quick to get you started for after the Egg Bowl. I really want Odom. I want Jimothy, and I want Deion Smith. Those are the 3 that I want. And
if you get them and Stonka in there, you're looking at probably a top 15 recruiting class.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And everybody needs to be fired up at that point, because you're going to have the best defensive line class in the country. That already exists, and especially if Charleston, I think Collins flips over to Arkansas. You already have that. If you have these other skill positions and things that are built, that'll be pretty good. I do think that Ole Miss needs Jimothy though.
I think we need some offensive line help, and they'll probably get a couple of guys in the portal as well for the offensive line. I mean, he knows what he's doing. But as far as for the future, I like this class. This is a good, deep, good recruiting class.
Do you think J.J. Harrell kind of regrets going all in when he committed to Mississippi State and kind of burning that bridge?
Oh, yeah. He blew that bridge up. I don't think Ole Miss would give him a quarter scholarship to be the water boy. I think he blew that bridge, and it's sad because he's a good athlete.
Yeah, he's a reverse. It was a reverse C.J. Johnson that happened in that situation.
Best analogy I've heard, a reverse C.J. Johnson. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll see exactly what happens. Anyway, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Tom Vanderford, thank you, sir, for joining us. Be safe going to the ball game. And if you see Josh Guest and he's talking and he's online with me, hop into the camera shot, man.
All righty. You got it, buddy.
All right. Take care, bud.